And I launched it as an independent journalistic platform because I was kind of fed up of the way that, in particular, especially US media organizations, but media organizations in general, were kind of pulling their punches on some of the big issues of the day, be it racism, the rise of fascism, the genocide in Gaza. And I wanted to be able to have a platform where you don't have to look over your shoulder, you don't have to worry about the C-suite or the corporate backers or the advertisers, and be able to actually do unfiltered journalism, which a lot of us talk about, but fewer of us actually practice. So I launched it, and I pulled together kind of friends and contacts and people I admire to be contributors who have a similar view of the world in terms of kind of tonally and disrupting. We have Naomi Klein, and we have Greta Thunberg, and we have Owen Jones, and we have Fatima Bhutto, we have Bassem Youssef, the comedian. So it's a kind of a bunch of interesting people from different walks of life, different countries, giving their perspectives in different forms, as I say. We are now it's, I think, 600,000 followers on YouTube. We have about 350,000 subscribers on Substack. We've grown quite quickly and made some noise in the US media and in the global media, as I say, on some of the big issues of the day where other journalists are just pulling their punches.
Yeah, interesting. So I wanted to ask you about that journey of going from being a part of the mainstream media to choosing to go independent. And so you're not the only one. In fact, there's sort of after you've done it and proceeding, but particularly after, there's been a sort of flood of journalists who have quit mainstream media positions and have particularly taken up Substack, but other platforms too. So I guess there's like two ways that you could look at that. One, I guess you could say there's like pull factors. If you've got a particular, personal following, personal brand, you can make a lot of money on Substack. There's also, I guess you could say, push factors. You mentioned, being in the mainstream media, you've got to, work with advertisers, C-suite executives, etc. And so I guess what motivated you specifically to make the jump to go independent, and what do you think might be motivating some of the others who have followed in your wake?
So around end of 2023, after October the 7th, MSNBC cancelled my two shows. And they said, but you can stay on and be a guest host and be an analyst. You just won't have your shows. And I thought, that's a weird situation, not something I really want to do. It's just not in my nature to kind of just sit on the bench, especially in 2024, which I realized would be a huge year, both for the Middle East and for American politics with the election. I needed a platform somewhere I could say my piece. So it was a no-brainer that I was going to leave MSNBC at that point, the minute that happened. The issue was, do I go work somewhere else? Or do I actually do my own thing? And, the phrase, if not now, when? And it was a sense of, I've worked for Sky News and the BBC and Al Jazeera and MSNBC. I've worked in the US and the UK. And why not just do it now?